Hello, welcome to Axiom Curb Flux News with an earlier edition. Tonight we've got myself, PJ, Dom, Glenn, and Blackhole Bridger. The date will be 28th of the 2nd, 2015. So, going over to Blackhole. How are you doing, Blackhole? Are you there?
Yes, thank you. I'm fine, thank you, PJ. And for our viewers, my first article for tonight, I'm doing an update on the case of Melanie Shaw. But first, a quick recap for all out there not knowing about Melanie Shaw. Melanie Shaw is a whistleblower and a victim of child abuse, sex abuse, and mental abuse and physical abuse. She was taken into care as a toddler into Beechwood Children's Care Home in Nottingham. She was being sexually abused at home. She whistle-blew to the authorities of how she and many more of the children were being abused whilst at Beechwood Children's Home. Due to Melanie's whistleblowing, Operation Daybreak was initiated by Nottinghamshire Police. Victim numbers grew to around 150, and a whole gambit of fresh abuse also grew on Melanie Shaw. Of harassment, the Nottinghamshire County Council paid out the sum of £250,000 in compensation to 25 people. Melanie received a friendly warning that if she isn't quiet, they will take her son into care. She was arrested under arson and the charges of reckless criminal damages. That she had set light to a garden shed and had thrown paint onto a neighbour's house. She spent time under remand in HM Prison, Peterborough, run by the private company Sodexo, where she was bullied and not given correct health care treatment, even denied bandages for a bad ulcer that was growing decidedly worse, as she was having to use J-cloths instead of bandages. She spent time in solitary confinement, also refused her prescription of Valium, which she has taken on a regular basis due to horrific abuse whilst at Beechwood Children's Care Home. Things don't add up in this case. The charges of arson, as there was no logging of the call out at the fire station. None of the neighbours seen or heard any fire engines. Melanie was found guilty, but no mention was made of the ongoing arson in the area. There was no fire expert witnesses called, no character witnesses called. A long-term psychiatrist was not called. Handwriting experts could not confirm beyond reasonable doubt, and other fingerprints were not investigated by police. The judge slept through the case and then tells the jury Operation Daybreak was a fiction of her delusions. She was found guilty and let out on bail. She was constantly harassed by Nottinghamshire Police. Her door was smashed in. Until then, she was yet again arrested, and a bail company, a private bail company at that, said to their knowledge no terms of her bail conditions were broken. Sodexo private-run prison, Peterborough, have blocked visits from Melanie's lay legal advisor from being able to discuss Melanie's case with her. Sodexo says visits by Melanie Shaw's lay legal advisors are not permitted. Melanie's last court case proceeded without her attendance, as she refused to leave her cell. She was represented by criminal defence solicitor Philip Plant of VHS Fletcher's Solicitors Group, who Melanie had sacked a while back because of her displeasure of their services. Melanie was back in Nottingham Crown Court today at 10:45 this morning, charged with unlawful imprisonment on Jail the 19th of a Tony Chadbourne. Also charged with sending false messages between December the 5th and January the 12th of this year. She tried to plead guilty, but the Queen's Counsel refused on the grounds she had not signed and agreed for Bennett to represent her. The judge asked her if she would sign. Mel's response was, "If you are asking me, then I will sign." She was sent back to her cells for a conference and to sign. 45 minutes later, she was back. Queen's Counsel informed her this was a serious Section 18. Section 18 includes offences under Section 18 is referred to as wounding with intent, or GBH, or common assault, or ABH. He sent Melanie Shaw back to jail, saying he would arrange a doctor's report and a psychiatry report. Date of next hearing is the 18th of May. That's just after general elections, and she's got no bail. Bennett suggested she go back in front of Judge Pert, who was the original judge who sat on Melanie's first jury, who told the jury Operation Daybreak was a fiction of her delusions. And it all smells very much highly, with so much things that don't add up, and she is whistle blew that there is actual murders were taken place there and children were suicided. So it really does look to me as if she's being fitted up which way but lose. So poor Melanie, now languishing in prison yet again. She's a good, honest person, and she's doing the right thing. She's not backing down to them. She's had her son taken from her because she wouldn't back down, which is in many cases with the child stealing of the state. The state had come in after her. Sorry, PJ, go ahead.
No, so I was just going to say, I mean, it does baffle me, and it don't really, but the judge's comment on the Operation Daybreak, I mean, where did he get that? How partial of a trial can you orchestrate, I mean, really? I'll use the words orchestrate because it doesn't really look like he's done much of his own work, to be honest.
I mean, he fallen asleep during the case and he was sitting over it. He must have woke up and come out with that phrase. He must have been dreaming it. That Operation Daybreak is a figment of illusion.
I'd say his comment is an illusion of his daydreaming, his imagination, not hers.
Exactly, always putting on all this pressure on judges though to keep her quiet. Or is it always putting pressure on her?
Well, that's
the people above
the voice, these people, but I mean, who are these people?
That's exactly the question.
That's the big question. Yeah, that's what they don't want us to find out. So please, I urge anybody that have got the time and got the inclination, please write to Melanie Shaw. The address is being shown there. And if you can and you find it in your way, post her some postage stamps as well so she can reply. But if you do put enclosed stamps in the envelope, when you write to her, actually let her know how many stamps you're enclosing. Otherwise, those postage stamps may not reach her.
Yeah.
Because they do not want her talking to people.
I'm sure. Most of the letters there, Blackhole, will probably be.
Did she get 60 days? in prison?
No,
She's no
she's
longer
been
than that in
sent back
remand.
down. She's back down now, and until her next court hearing, which is on the 18th of May.
Right. Okay.
She started the sentence now, Dominic, in remand. This is it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she's done all that time before. She had a leg ulcer that was being treated by a doctor, and as soon as she went in there, that they failed to treat it. They wouldn't even give her bandages for it. It got so bad, she come very close to losing her leg. This is how this private prison, where they're trying to save money, or they're personally victimising, they're trying to send her out of her school to make her look as if she's mad.
Well, the judge did say that, you know, treatment should be given to her, so let's see if that did get carried through. And another thing I'd like to mention, Blackhole, is she's not the only one. There's many more, like, you know, Ben Fellows and other ones that are actually locked up at minute. So there is a list. She's not the only one.
Yeah, and I mean, there's the case of Robert Green. He's been on under house arrest for well over a year now. and what's he done? What's his crime? He's sticking up for children that are being sexually abused. That's his crime. Anyway, I won't go on, but please find in your hearts to write to Melanie. She needs her spirits uplifting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Blackhole. It's very, you know, good information that we're putting out, and it's very important that if anybody did want to send her just a letter to get direct contact with her, if you're interested in learning what's been going off, then there's no better place than is the address you can see there. So over to Dom now for his bit of flux for today. What you got for us, Dom?
First article is Jihadi John. Cage resident who storms off Sky News accusing Kay Burley of Islamophobia. It's an interview between Kay Burley, who works for Sky News, and someone from the human rights. I'll read it. A representative of Axiom group for communities affected by the war on terror stood off Sky News today during an interview about the ISIS militant known as Jihadi John, after a presenter told him to get over himself. Cage spokesman Shameless was being interviewed by presenter Kay Burley, who reports that the Jihadi John had been identified as West Londoner Mohammed Mwaza. The human rights group had previously been in contact with Mwaza for 2 years and said the security services had harassed him. What level of harassment by security services in the United Kingdom justifies beheading? Miss Burley asked Miss Sullivan. He responded by saying that nobody is apologising or trying to make an excuse for Mwaza's alleged beheadings, and said it was important to debate the cause of radicalism. He added that British discourse on the issue had failed to look at the cause of radicalism in an honest manner for years, and said perpetrators of attacks often quote foreign policy as the key push, as well as harassment and domestic policy. We keep on ignoring that. It's not just to justify it, it's about looking at the causes of it, so we can make sure everybody's safer, both here and abroad. So Miss Burley then asked Miss Sullivan how he felt about the ISIS beheading of West hostages, now believed to have been carried out by Mwaza. So let's have a look at the interview you had there.
Yeah, it could be a possibility we might have to come back in a couple of minutes on that video.
Yeah, just refresh it.
Okay, so what's your thoughts, Blackhole, on this subject while I'm just dealing with this video?
Well, the whole ISIS debacle, it seems very sniffy to me. The whole, the way they've come from nothing to such a big force, the way older arms and that was left behind for them just to pick up and use it all. I find it very smelly. It's and these people that they've all had connections with the British Secret Service. it sounds like another Operation Gladio, really, but Middle East style.
Alright.
Yeah.
I think I've got the video.
Is it working now?
Yeah, we'll get a try now. Hopefully it should be good to go. So it's. Which video is it?
I think Kay Burley were.
Is it this video there? Is it the one with the cage spokesman storms off, or?
It's the 4 minute 3 second one. Cage spokesman storms off of like interview. Yeah, that one.
Right, that's it. So it's this one, yeah. Oh, seems to be having a. You don't want to wait tonight, does it, guys? It's not.
Have you refreshed it?
Yeah, I've been refreshing it. It's just going a bit slow. That's all. It's making me work hard tonight to get this video for you, so I do apologise, but
Jihadi John.
The article's dead then. If video don't work, the article's dead because that's the main part of it.
in part that's the reason why it's probably giving me some problems here. I've got the article showing it's not struggling to let me scroll down. Okay, so now I've scrolled down and the videos aren't there. Okay, let's try one last time. So it's the 4 minutes and
3 seconds.
quite a lengthy article, is it not? Here we go. Sorry about that.
Identified as West London Mohammed M. Wazing. Cage spokesperson Kay Burley just joining us now.
I see it.
Hello to you. Thank you for joining
Yeah.
us here on Sky News this afternoon.
That's great.
Just straight off the bat, what level of harassment by the security services here in the United Kingdom justifies beheading?
It's going all over the place,
It's
this
not
one.
about justifying anything. Nobody here is apologising or trying to make an excuse for what happened. We're talking about the causes of it. For years now, in the British discourse on these issues, we've failed to look at the causes of radicalisation in an honest manner. The conveyor belt theory that's been put
available to all customers. William Hill, the home of that.
It's not working at all, guys.
It's okay. Let's just move on to
We're
the
gonna
next.
have to scrap that one.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry for that. Sorry about that one. Next article. Jimmy Savile's brother Johnny carried out sex attacks at London Hospital. The older brother, Jimmy Savile, was implicated in sex attacks at a South London hospital, the report says. Johnny Savile is alleged to have carried out the assaults while working at a Springfield hospital in Tooting. 7 allegations related to a period between 1978 and 1980 culminated in Savile, who died in 1998, being sacked. However, there was no evidence Jimmy Savile visited the hospital, the NHS report said. The report also says there was no indication the allegation reported to police. But a victim said Johnny used his brother's fame and thought he could go anywhere in the hospital he liked. The report by South West London and St George Mental Health NHS Trust said. In his job as the hospital recreation officer, he held activities for patients such as discos, which he also organised for the local girls' school. A victim of Johnny Savile told BBC News, "So I went in and he locked the door behind me. I'm not sure exactly when I was aware of that, but then he turned around and dropped his trousers and forced himself on me." She added, "I was just completely ignored. It diminishes you. Not only that, but because you are not believed, you are denied any appropriate treatment." The allegations were made by patients, a visitor and a staff member. All of the victims were adults at the time of the attacks. One alleged that on 4th of June 1979 she was sexually assaulted and raped by Johnny Savile in his office. She claimed there was a culture whereby female patients wanted to stay in Johnny Savile's good books, the report states. Another made allegations of assaults from 1979, when she was a patient at the hospital. Other allegations relate to groping and inappropriate touching. Lawyers representing the woman, who alleged she was raped, have confirmed their claims but not acted upon on numerous occasions. Despite gaining the courage to tell the hospital staff, the police and their GP of the incident, on numerous occasions between 1991 and 2012, no action was taken to investigate the claims, they said. David Bradley, chief executive of the Mental Health Trust, offered his heartfelt apologies to the victim. He said, The investigation's finding of the suffering the victims experienced and the lack of support they received is very disturbing to read about today, given our much greater awareness of the sexual exploitation and abuse of vulnerable people. The abuse these patients were subject to and the conditions described at Springfield Hospital in 1979 were all unacceptable. So Jimmy Savile's brother, Johnny, was also a sex attacker.
Is it surprising, do you think?
No.
No. Oh, by the way, Dom, if you wanted to go back on that video, I can actually play it now.
Yeah, we'll go to the Jihadi John video then, interview. It's an interview between Kay Burley and a member of the human rights activist.
Identified as West Londoner Mohammed MYZ. Cage spokesperson Kay Burley joining us now. Hello to you, thank you for joining us here on Sky News this afternoon. Let me ask you straight off the bat, what level of harassment by the security services here in the United Kingdom justifies beheading?
It's not about justifying anything. Nobody here is apologising or trying to make an excuse for what happened. We're talking about the causes of it. For years now in the British discourse on this issue, we failed to look at the causes of radicalisation in an honest manner. The conveyor belt theory that's been pushed time and time again has been proven academically to be incorrect. It has no empirical evidence. Yet every single time one of these horrific attacks happens, the people who perpetrate it quote foreign policy as the key pusher. They quote harassment and domestic policy as factors. And we keep on ignoring that. And it's not about justifying it. It's about looking at the causes of it so that we can make everybody safer, both here and abroad.
How do you feel about the beheading?
I'm to be frank, I'm kind of appalled that you asked me that question. Muslims are human beings
Don't be
as well.
appalled, don't be appalled. Just answer the question if you would, please, sir.
I am. Muslims are human beings as well. We are shocked when we see beheadings, we're shocked when we see barrel bombs. We don't have to justify our humanity by saying that I'm shocked by something as brutal as this. I campaigned, both behind the scenes and publicly, for the release of Alan Henning. So your question is inherently Islamophobic and racist.
Nonsense. Get over yourself. Who's responsible for these beheadings?
The man who cut off their heads, and if you take that back a step, the people who potentially helped in his radicalisation. In this case, the security service.
So you feel that the security services here in the United Kingdom are in some way or in some part responsible for the beheadings now being carried out by Jihadi John and others?
Everybody has agency for their own actions, and everybody, regardless of where they are and who they are, should be held accountable by the law, by due process, for any sort of torture that they do and any sort of killing without due process that they take. That is a blanket statement for all people in all times.
Are you saying that the security services are in some way responsible for these beheadings? Was my question.
What I've said is that we have to look at all of the history of these things as well. If you try and take these issues in a vacuum, then you're not going to be able to analyse how they happened and try to get some sort of understanding of how to stop them from happening again.
Okay, so do you feel that in some way the security services in the United Kingdom are responsible for the beheadings carried out by Jihadi John?
I feel, I'll give you the answer that you've asked me 3 times, I feel that the security services have time and again harassed people and pushed them, and that has played a part in the radicalisation of this man. Now, he is responsible for his own actions. They are partly responsible for putting him in that position.
Do you condemn his actions?
I've already said, I'm sorry, I'm not answering that question, it's a ridiculous question. I've already gone through this and dealt with it.
Joining us now from central London is Shiraz.
The most disrespectful woman I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, right. Well, that was the video to it. Finally got working. Moving on to the next article. Customer data stolen in TalkTalk hack attack. TalkTalk customers are being warned about scammers who manage to steal account numbers and names from the company's computers. In an email sent to every customer, TalkTalk said scammers were using stolen information to trick people into handing over bank details. TalkTalk said it had sent the email to every customer, although only a few thousand account numbers went astray. It has set up a dictator phone line for customers targeted by the scammers. The theft of data was unearthed when TalkTalk investigated a sudden rise in complaints from customers about scam calls between October and December 2014, said the spokeswoman. I was one of them. I've claimed 3 times. We have now concluded a thorough investigation, working with an external security company. We have become aware that some limited non-sensitive information may be illegally assessed in violation of our security procedure, she said. The attackers got at some of TalkTalk's internal systems via a third party that also had access to its network. Legal action is now being taken against this unnamed third party. The information stolen included names, addresses, phone numbers, and TalkTalk account numbers. The company was confident that no sensitive or payment data went astray in the hack. We are aware of a small but nonetheless significant number of customers who have been directly targeted by these criminals, and we've been supporting them directly, said a statement from TalkTalk. It would not put an exact figure on the number affected, but said it was in the small thousands. The company currently has about 4 million customers. The scammers appear to be using the stolen details to trick people into thinking calls are coming from a legitimate TalkTalk customer service staff. People are then tricked into handing over bank details or into signing up and paying for security software and services they do not need. Although TalkTalk said it became aware of the data lost late last year, the BBC has been contacted by one customer who said the scammers working on a similar pattern called in August. His wife, familiar with the computers, helped her quickly spot that the call was fake. They said our computer was infected with a virus and used various social engineering techniques to try to get more info, but she's quickly clued up, he said. Over the following few days, she got several more calls, but from a different person each time trying the same trick. At the time, TalkTalk was dismissive of the complaint Mr. Lee Williams made about the scam. A TalkTalk spokesman said without more details it was hard to know if the same conmen were involved in the August-December attacks. She invited Mr. Lee Williams to contact TalkTalk to resolve his complaint. Customers who are being hit by the scammers can call a dictated number, which is on the screen there, for free, to get help from the confirm. Some reports suggest customers have lost thousands to the scammers. Many TalkTalk customers have spoken to the company's support forums to report that they've been contacted by the scammers. Customers who have been caught out should contact their bank, said the firm. It added that it was working with the Information Commissioner's office to identify the scammers and stop them targeting customers. Security expert Graham Cluler described the breach as very worrying. Rumours of a TalkTalk data breach have been bubbling up since December, but this is the first official confirmation that a serious incident has occurred, he said. Unfortunately, it's unlikely that scammers and fraudsters are only targeting TalkTalk. There is a good chance that other telecom companies have been on the receiving end of attacks from hackers eager to steal customer data, he added. Every call needs to be on their guard. Everyone needs to be on their guard for unsolicited emails and phone calls, said Mr. Cluler. If in doubt, go the extra mile to confirm that person contacting you is legitimate. So yeah, that's so I'm a TalkTalk customer. I was contacted 3 times by these people, and they sounded like they were from India. The first call, they tried to say that I had a virus on my computer and I had to download some software to get rid of it. Obviously, I wasn't fooled, and I told them, well, I hung up on it first time.
Originally, I thought that there'd have been some disgruntled, ex-employees at the company. And when it talks about your banking details being safe, well, that's not necessarily going to be true in that case, because when you talk over the phone, you give them your bank details, do you not? so they could always keep a record for themselves if it is a disgruntled.
Well, I've not had any money stolen off me, but they've got my name, my address, and my phone number, and my total account number.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, TalkTalk, sold TalkTalk and no vote woke.
I mean, they could make money out of my name, address, and phone number. They could sell that on.
And I wouldn't trust them, you know, for as far as you can throw them.
Yeah, so if you are a TalkTalk customer and you're worrying that you got a scam call between November and December, ring TalkTalk.
I don't believe it is an hack attack. I think it's a leak.
Well, they were definitely Indian when they rang me. They were Indian, and they play that background music in background to make out like they're busy. Yeah, so they put that on as well. So beware of that. Just because it sounds busy, it's not them. Hey, moving on. Robert Mugabe admits Zimbabwe's land reform flaws. Zimbabwe President Robert Mugabe has admitted failures in the country's controversial land reform program. I think the farms we gave to people are too large. They can't manage them, the 91-year-old leader said in usually candid comments. In the past, he has tended to blame poor agricultural productivity on the weather and Western sanctions. The seizure of land from white farmers is seen as a key factor in Zimbabwe's economic meltdown since 2000. The BBC's Brian Ungwe in the capital, Harare, says it is not the first time President Mugabe has criticised new black farmers, but his comments are surprisingly frank. They point to continuous problems in accounting for low production levels and the underutilisation of farms, which reflect badly thought out land policies, he says. Mr Mugabe, who has ruled Zimbabwe since independence in 1980, was interviewed on the state broadcaster ZBC to mark his 91st birthday, which he celebrated last weekend. He said he wanted to encourage farmers to go into wheat farming and blamed low productivity levels on the new commercial farmers for their failing to utilize all their land. You'll find that most of them are just using 1/3 of the land, Zimbabwe state-owned Herald newspaper quotes him as saying. During the colonial era, the best farmland was reserved for the white population, and in 2000, Mr Mugabe spearheaded the seizure of the land from some 4,000 white farmers. His critics say the land was handed out as political allies, and many of the beneficiaries were not given the equipment or training to farm productively, leading to the collapse of the agriculture-based economy. In the interview, he also denied pushing his wife Grace into politics. Last year, she became head of the Women's League and in the ruling's annual PF party, and embarked on a nationwide tour in which she denounced party rivals. This led to speculation that she was being ready to succeed her husband as president. She is not the power behind my throne. She has come into politics in her own right, Mr Mugabe said. The headline of the Herald, widely seen as a government mouthpiece, is "I'm still in charge," said President Robert Mugabe, who's outspoken out about black farmers' favour. Right, my last article.
Can I just say, how is he, by the way, since his
Since his fall.
Since his fall? Is he alright?
Yeah, seems to be.
Oh dear.
He'll get the best treatment, won't he?
Yep.
Mother dragged to court the accidentally hit a youngster while trying to protect her son from a gang of youths. Walks free after arguing, "I'm a mum, that's my job." The mother of three, accused of smashing a brick into the schoolboy's face to protect her son from an horrible beating, was cleared after telling the court, "I am a mum, that's my job." Samantha Faith Corner, 43, was arrested and dragged to court after accidentally injuring one of a gang of 5 youths who had surrounded her eldest son Daniel after a night party. She picked up a rock to scare them off, and a 15-year-old schoolboy, who admitted drinking 8 cans of cider that night, was hit in the face with a stone, chipping his front teeth during the fracas. The U-Night shooter from Beddale, North Yorkshire, spent 8 months awaiting a trial, and was acquitted at Teesside Crown Court after arguing that she was just defending her son. So this is a picture leaving court, Samantha 3rd. Recorder Edward Bindloss told her, "That's the end of the matter. You'll leave that without a stain on your character." Trouble flared in the garden of an house in Beddale after a 16th birthday party in May last year. The injured teenager lost significant parts of his two front teeth when he was struck in the face with a rock or brick. The prosecution claims it was a deliberate act, sparked when the defendant lost her temper following a row about drugs. But Mrs. Faircorn insisted she was trying to push past the boy to help her son as he was being kicked and punched on the ground. She said her son had been pounced about by people and her only intention was to save him from the horrible beating. During her evidence, she said she wanted to scare the attackers with the rock and did not use it as a weapon on the victim. This is Teesside Crown Court. Yeah. She maintains that she did not want to hit the boy, telling the juror, "I did not hit that child." As a tutor of the Unite Trade Union, the mother has campaigned successfully to save her threatened local library and allotments in the Yorkshire market town of Bedale. Speaking after the hearing, she said, "It has been an horrible time for me and my family. For 8 months I've dealt with a very real possibility that I could go to jail, something that I've considered unthinkable, being like a nightmare. My thoughts right now are at least, soon it's mended, and I'd like to put the whole thing behind me and get my life back to where it was before all this happened. I wish the prosecution had never been brought. I'm not sure why it was, but I'm so glad that common sense has eventually prevailed." A friend said, "It's madness that Samantha found herself in court. She's terrified of what might happen to her, and had convinced herself she was going to prison. Even the police seemed to be on her side, but the Crown Prosecution Service decided to take the case to trial. Mrs. Faircorn is 5'5", while the injured teenager is close to 6 foot," the jury heard in the trial. Right, that's Samantha Faircorn found not guilty, which is the right verdict.
Yeah. Common sense prevails at long last.
Yeah,
Well, it'd be good to see some of that for Melanie Shaw, eh?
Yes, that's what we need, is real good common sense. Not common purpose,
No,
common sense.
that's it. Yeah, very good, Dom. Decent articles, yeah.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, I'd just like to give a warm welcome to a new speaker, a new host, and his name's Malcolm. Hey there, Malcolm. You want to tell us all about this Facebook thing before we start? Introduce yourself. Hello, do we still have you on? You might have got yourself on mute there.
Was he dropped off?
Probably getting straight right.
It is his debut, so... Have we still got you there, Malcolm?
I'm still here, can you hear me?
Oh, we've got you. Yeah, we're there.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Basically, it's a bit of a joke between me and John.
You're coming in and out, Glenn.
Shall I plug my microphone back? Testing it.
Hang on, bear with me.
Also, are you all still for a sec?
Yeah.
Sorry about this. Bear with me, guys. It'll be alright. It'll be alright on the night.
It is tonight, Glenn.
Is that better, PJ?
That's spot on that.
Brilliant. Yeah, basically, this alias Malcolm was a bit of a joke based on Dom, really, weren't it, Dom?
Yeah, his real name's Glenn Peacock.
I got reeled in like a pure kipper dinner, and if anybody says anything, my so-called Facebook friends who don't know me that well, I'll just say I was just doing it for charity. Yeah, a bit of an early ice bucket challenge.
We've got 6 days to do it, so.
Basically, I can be unique in myself, really. I can just get it about and just say, change your name for 60 days on Facebook. Who knows?
You can be unique. That's what we need. You can say you've won a T-shirt.
Who knows what you can win?
Right, well, I'll just put the offer us then first.
You got a bit of flux for us, Malcolm?
Yeah, I have indeed. Yeah, my first article's Gary Glitter jailed for 16 years.
Way.
The judge said that Glitter had done all his victims real and lasting damage, as Sarah Campbell reports. Do you want me to send you the link so you can play the video, PJ?
Yeah, I'll take that if you've got it.
Alright, no worries.
I'll just put it over on chat box outside there and I'll
Alright,
feed it through.
You should have sent it, Glenn, to him before you done it.
He's alright.
I'm new, give me a breakdown.
This is the ordinary style of Flux News that we go on about. It's ordinary people.
Have you got that link, PJ?
I have, yeah. I'm just about to put it through. Do you want to give us an introduction for the video before we play it?
Yeah, the judge said that Glitter had done all his victims real and lasting damage, as Sarah Campbell reports.
Alright, okay. So where's this video then? Because I only see images. Oh yeah, there it is.
You got it?
Yeah, I've got it, yeah. Okay, let's see what we've got. Okay, hopefully we should have it smoother on this one.
The following report contains flash photography. It's almost 40 years since this man attempted to rape an 8-year-old girl. Today, justice finally caught up with him. In the dock, he showed little reaction as the sentence was passed, just a shake of his head as he listened to the impact his actions have had on the 3 girls he abused.
One of his victims was in court to hear Judge Alistair McCreth tell Glitter, "You did all of them real and lasting damage, and you did so for no other reason than to obtain sexual gratification for yourself of a wholly improper kind."
Glitter had managed to keep his abusive nature a secret for decades. His lyrics were suggestive, his performances sexual.
Show them your back for a while and move to...
This documentary was filmed a year after we now know he assaulted a 13-year-old fan.
I feel it's like a love affair. It's a love affair that you have with your audience, and you treat them just like you're caressing a woman. You tease her, you play with her. An audience is exactly the same.
In 1997, employees at this Bristol store were the first to discover who he really was when they found images of child porn on his hard drive. He was jailed for 2 months and then jailed again in 2006 in Vietnam for abusing 2 pre-teenage girls.
These crimes leave the victim with a life sentence of what was done to them. So I think that people who commit such crimes shouldn't expect any leniency.
Back in jail for a 3rd time, Glitter will be almost 79 years old before he can even be considered for release. Sarah Campbell, BBC News, Southwark Crown Court.
Yeah.
A bit of justice done there then, PJ, for a rather sick individual, don't you think?
Oh, that's just so, yeah. But, 16 years. How old is he now? Years?
He's 71, isn't he? 71.
Alright. So.
He's not going to come out alive, is he, PJ?
Does he have to stay a whole 16 years over where he is, or is it an off thing, or whatever it is, like it is here?
Well, there's going to be on paedophile wings, ultra confinement.
So, I'll carry on with my article regarding that then, PJ.
Yeah, if you want, Glenn, it's up to you.
Yeah, sure, no worries. Former pop star Gary Glitter has been jailed for a total of 16 years for sexually abusing 3 young girls between 1975 and 1980. Glitter, whose real name is Paul Gadd, was sentenced for attempted rape, 4 counts of indecent assault, and 1 of having sex with a girl under 13. Sentencing, Judge Alistair McCreth said he could find no real evidence that Gadd had atoned for his crimes. 70-year-old showed no emotion as he left the dock at Southwark Crown Court. Judge McCreef told Gad it was clear his victims were all profoundly affected by his abuse of them. You did all of them real and lasting damage, and you did so for no other reason than to obtain sexual gratification for yourself of a wholly improper kind, he said. Sentencing explained, Judge McCreef said he was of the offences by current guidelines, but he was limited to the maximum sentences that were available at the time the offences were committed, when the sentencing climate was less severe. The offences for which I must pass sentence today took place many years ago at a time when, in particular, in respect of one of them, the maximum sentence was considerably lower than that which is now available, he said. Judge McCreef said the modern equivalent offence of unlawful intercourse with a child under 13 would be equivalent to rape of a child, but said he was not permitted to pass a life sentence. He said the offence of attempted rape was so serious as to justify the maximum available sentence under the old regime of 7 years, which he noted would be a lenient sentence under modern. Gary Glitter returned to the UK after his conviction in Vietnam for molesting 2 girls aged 11 and 12. Sally Bennett Jenkins, QC, defending, told the court that Gad had been subject to a very high degree of vilification and demonification in the press after being jailed in Vietnam in 2006 for molesting 2 girls aged 11 and 12. She said he had led an increasingly isolated life for the last decade and had been unable to walk down the street without being the subject of vilification. Gad, from Marylebone, central London, had denied the allegations against him, but was found guilty at the end of a 3-week-long trial earlier this month. He had been at the height of his fame when he attacked 2 girls aged 12 and 13 after inviting them backstage to his dressing room. His youngest victim had been less than 10 years old when he crept into her bed and tried to rape her in 1975. Judge McCreef described Gad's abuse of a girl under 10 as appalling and said it is difficult to overstate the depravity of this dreadful behaviour. He noted that in 2011, Gad sought professional help to understand his sexual behaviour, but said whatever changes may have been affected in you by this treatment, this did not include any admission at all on your part of the wrong that you had done. The allegations against Gad came to light only years later when he became the first person to be arrested under Operation U-Tree, the investigation in the wake of the Jimmy Savile scandal. Scotland Yard confirmed that it had received other information in light of Gad's conviction and that it is currently being assessed. Detective Chief Inspector Michael Orchard from Operation U-Tree said Gad was an habitual sex advantage of the star status afforded to him. He added his lack of remorse and defence that the victims were lying all the more indefensible. Mark Castle, Chief Executive of Charity Victim Support, said this person to the courage Glitter's victims showed in reporting their ordeal and bravely confronting this serial paedophile in court. Any opinions on that then, PJ?
Well, going back to, as it said, because of the time period when he carried out these attacks, it's convenient for him, it's worked out for him that he got a light sentence, not a lenient sentence, but I'd say a light sentence. He could have got life.
If it had come to truth earlier when he actually done it.
Well, no, it'd have made no difference whether he got caught then or now. He's still got served the same punishment, did he not? So.
Yeah.
Well, no. What he says, the time when he committed the crimes in 1979, the time you could get for those sort of crimes were much lower. So the judge took that into consideration. That's why he didn't give him a life term. But he said that if he committed those crimes today, he would have got a life term.
Yeah, but he never stood trial back then, did he? He's standing trial
but
now.
it doesn't matter. The judge took in the charges back then and how they viewed back then.
And what do we all feel about that? Do we think that's fair, or should it have been done in today's age, or what do you feel, Blackhole? What's your thoughts?
I feel he should stand as the law stands today and take the full brunt of his wrongdoings. The fact is, he cannot even accept the fact he's done wrong. This is what is wrong with the guy. He can't even accept to himself that he's done wrong. So he's a danger to the public. He's a danger to all young children out there. So he should be locked up for the rest of his mortal.
He's probably got the attitude where thinking, well, Savile got away with it, so why can't I?
Well, bisexual.
Were they all? Obviously, they were all in the same link. They were all in the same social link, PJ, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. They were glam rock, weren't it? Blackhole.
Yeah. It's very prevalent amongst all that fraternity, if you like to call it that.
We won't say there's who's going to be next in that chain, will we? But there's going to be more to follow, PJ, isn't there?
Well, we'll not be following much of him for the next 16 years unless something happens while he's doing his bid. But yeah, good articles. Is that your final one, or do you have any more?
It's my first one, yeah. My second one is Prince Harry to leave armed forces. The Prince, who has the rank of captain, will end his active military career after duty in Afghanistan. Here he is in his suits and stuff. Gallery in pics Harry in the military, as you can see. Prince Harry stands to attention at his passing out Sovereign's Parade at Sandhurst Military Academy in April 2006. Prince Harry is expected to leave the military later this year, according to Sky sources. The move comes as a surprise as the 30-year-old Prince is a passionate member of the armed forces who appeared to be focused on a long career serving as an army officer. He served 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan. An army spokesperson said we would not comment on the future careers of any of our soldiers and officers. Kensington Palace would not comment on the news. Again, shall I send you the link, PJ?
Yeah, if you've got one there, I'll take that.
I should have been a little bit more organised, shouldn't I? But it's my first. It's my debut, so...
It's your first night, Malcolm. It's your first night, so don't go beating yourself up, my friend.
Oh, yeah, that's it, innit?
We don't want to be...
we're all human, aren't we?
You don't want to be scaring future or Flux news away, do we, Glenn? So
or the future
mechanics easy to do, won't you?
Yeah, I've got to lead from example, haven't I? Yeah, go on, PJ, play that. Yeah.
No worries. We've got an introduction to the article while I say it out.
Hang on a sec. Basically, this is a video. I look at Harry's time in uniform, and that's all I can say, really.
I look at Harry's time in uniform.
Which uniform would that be?
He's looking proud and dignified, and should I say? That's about it.
All right. Let's start this one off then.
It had long been his ambition to return to the front line in Afghanistan. When he did so from the seat of an Apache helicopter with 662 Squadron at the end of 2012, it seems it was to be his last tour of duty for Queen and Country.
This was my main effort to get back out to Afghanistan. It took a little bit longer because of certain reasons, But yeah, I'm out here now, so that part of me is that's another tick in the box.
Captain Harry Wales's commanding officer in the Army Air Corps said he'd reached the pinnacle of flying excellence in Afghanistan. Now Harry's back, and he leaves his Suffolk base in the UK to return to London. It's in this building here at Horse Guards Parade, once the official entrance to all royal palaces, like Buckingham Palace and Clarence House, where Prince Harry will be stationed. His duties will include organising significant projects and commemorative events. But the reasons for moving to London go much further than his day job. After opening the Warrior Games for injured service personnel in Colorado last year, Prince Harry hatched a plan to bring the event to the UK with the help of the Ministry of Defence and his Royal Foundation. But some might ask why, having spent vast amounts of taxpayers' money on training the Prince to such a high standard, Harry has decided to call it a day.
He has served his Queen and country with distinction, and he's been given great credit for doing so. He was very brave because he obviously was a target. Like I said, the Taliban, if he'd been captured, with a huge feather in their cap. He is now coming up with a new visionary plan for what he can do, which would help those servicemen. We should be praising him, not being picky about how much it costs to train him.
Being back in London has other benefits too. He'll be closer to girlfriend Cressida Bonus, for one. He'll be able to take up the slack on royal duties from older members of the family. And while Kensington Palace won't categorically rule out a return in future to the front line, it does seem a remote possibility at best. Paul Harrison, Sky News at Horse Guards Parade.
There you go.
With that article anyway, it said in a statement, Prince Harry is currently focused on his work supporting the Ministry of Defence's Recovery Capability Programme to ensure those who are wounded, injured or sick have appropriate recovery plans and the necessary support they require. The statement said the current job is a natural progression from the work he did organising the ambitious games. Sky's defence correspondent Alistair Bunkall said Prince Harry had a pretty distinguished career within the armed forces. This is a natural time for Prince Harry to leave the army. He could be expected to be promoted from captain to major next year, at which point he would undertake a 9-month course at the Staff College in Shrivenham. This sets you up for a long career in the army. His pictures of him in Afghanistan for pilot police. If you want to take a look at how he's getting on.
I heard he's going to Australia, is he not?
I'll come to that point in a second. It's a bit further down in the article.
Oh, is it? Oh, right.
It is therefore a moment when a lot of young officers find themselves at a junction to stay or leave and pursue something else. In late 2007, Prince Harry undertook a 10-week tour of duty fighting the Taliban in Helmand province, Afghanistan, operating as a battlefield air controller behind enemy lines. His tour was cut short after foreign media broke a news blackout and he had to come home early. In September 2012, he returned to Afghanistan for a 20-week stint that gave him the chance to use his Apache flying skills and head out on operations in his role as co-pilot gunner. Again, I'll send you this link, PJ. Yeah.
Alright, just waiting for it for you.
All I know is you scroll further down, yeah.
Is it the second one, yeah?
It is, yeah, PJ.
Okay. Okay, let's take a look at that.
See what you guys think.
Just make sure I get the right one. So it's the
Army Prince takes up a new job.
Yeah, that's the one.
It had long been his ambition to return to the front line in Afghanistan. When he did so from the seat of an Apache helicopter with 662 Squadron at the end of 2012, it seems it was to be his last tour of duty for Queen and Country.
This was my main effort back out to Afghanistan. It took a little bit longer because of certain reasons, but yeah, I'm out here now, so that part of me is that's another tick in the box.
Captain Harry Wales's commanding officer in the Army Air Corps said he'd reached the pinnacle of flying excellence in Afghanistan. Now Harry's back, and he leaves his Suffolk base in the UK to return to London. It's in this building here at Horse Guards Parade, once the official entrance to all royal palaces, like Buckingham Palace and Clarence House, where Prince Harry will be stationed. His duties will include organising significant projects and commemorative events. But the reasons for moving to London go much further than his day job. After opening the Warrior Games for injured service personnel in Colorado last year, Prince Harry hatched a plan to bring the event to the UK with the help of the Ministry of Defence.
Is it not?
I think it is, yeah. Is it? Yeah.
Is that the right link?
I didn't send you I didn't send you next link. It's all on the same page anyway, PJ.
Okay, so it's the right for that, yeah. Oh, a bit confused. I think what I did is actually played the wrong one first.
Right, but second one anyway.
Well, my apologies for that, Glenn.
Oh no, we can move on to what I was saying anyway. In January 2014, he swapped his helicopter role for an army desk job, organising ceremonial events. London's Evening Standard, which first reported the news, said Harry plans to focus on his charity work and aims to spend a significant period abroad on field projects in Africa. Before his active military duties end, the Prince is expected to move to Australia for several weeks, second to serve with units there, according to the newspaper. Later, he will spend time in New Zealand, but not involved with the military there, it said. Any thoughts on that, guys?
Well, I don't think he should be going over to Australia, really, do you? Should he not be?
I mean, what points are they trying to put across for Prince Harry to go out and do this civilian thing anyway?
No idea.
He's going to get preferential treatment anyway. He's going to get protected compared to the normal man, isn't he? Man and woman.
Well, that's it with the royal families. You know, they go out the way to try and bring attention. You know, that's what they love to do.
If he comes under danger, they'll drag him straight out, won't they?
Most definitely.
He'll get protected. They won't want nothing to happen to the royalists, will they?
Well, that's why we weren't ever really going to become a real soldier, were we? We were never allowed to go in combat and fight. Yeah,
well,
you
hopefully
be behind the desk.
He don't ever become a king.
So really, it's making a mockery of what he's done then, really, Dominic.
Really, yeah. That's probably why he's stepping down, because he probably doesn't see himself as in armour, because he'll never be a soldier. So what's the point? Just being behind a desk, probably don't want that.
It's basically just to say he can live the way normal people can live, so to speak, and they want a taste of how the other half live, don't they? I suppose.
Yeah.
But they'll never be in that. They'll never be in that understanding the way most normal people live. PJ, will they?
Well, that's it. You know.
Well, they do it. They choose the army rule to try and command respect, and it looks good for royal family. If they go back in history, they look at a lot of royal members, and a lot of them joined armed forces. Prince Andrew, we joined armed forces. Did Prince Edward at one time in Royal Navy?
Hooray for Harry.
I mean, before closing on the Harry article, apparent rumours going round in the media is going out with Emma Watson, Armani out of Harry Potter. So she likes her Harry, doesn't she?
No, that's an hoax. They're not together. That would
I thought he actually split up from that. What's her name now? Cressida, is it? Cressida. I thought they actually split up. So
Cressida Bonas.
Yeah, that's the one.
Where did you get that? Where did you get that source from then, Dom?
Emma Watson said herself that she wasn't dating Prince Harry. She didn't know where the story came from. Newspapers were just started from there.
I'll answer that at the end of one of my articles, Glenn.
All right, PJ. No worries. I'll move on to my final article then, PJ.
Go on then, go for it.
Qatar 2022 World Cup final no later than 18th of December, says Sepp Blatter. The Qatar 2022 World Cup final should be played no later than 18th of December, says FIFA President Sepp Blatter. A FIFA task force has recommended a November-December tournament and held discussions about a 23rd of December final, which would affect domestic schedules. Premier League Chief Executive Richard Scudamore wants to protect English football's festive fixture list. We have to stop at the 18th, said Blatter. The World Cup will not go on until the 23rd, definitely not. The 78-year-old is in Northern Ireland for this weekend's International Football Association Board, IFAB, meeting and admitted some leagues were not so happy about a Winter World Cup. It's so good now to make a little bit of noise about FIFA and about the World Cup in Qatar, said Blatter. There are more than 6 years, particularly 7 years, to prepare, and there is a goodwill. I'll send you the link so you can play this video, PJ.
Yeah, well, I think only Germany will be happy with that. Don't they have a winter break, Germany?
Germany do, yeah, Dom, I think. Scotland do, I think, don't they?
Yeah.
Bear with me, I'll just send you the link and you can play that video, PJ. You got it?
Unfortunately, because it's a BBC article, but yeah, I've got it.
We can get around that, can't we, PJ?
Yeah, we'll negotiate.
You'll excuse me for my debut, won't you?
Yeah. Alright, without showing too many of my articles, don't want to give too many exclusives away. Okay, let's go to this video. Hopefully, we should get started. Is it this one here? Yeah.
I'm gonna say yeah.
A FIFA task force has made the unprecedented recommendation that the 2022 Football World Cup should be held in November and December to avoid the sweltering summer temperatures in Qatar. If confirmed, it could cause massive disruption to the British and European football leagues and its broadcast partners. One Premier League chairman called the decision a disaster. Our sports editor Dan Rowan reports from Qatar.
You don't normally get this in the run-up to Christmas, but in 2022, one of the world's most iconic summer sports events will be staged slap bang in the middle of winter. Today, after years of controversy, the game's most powerful figures gathered here in Doha to thrash out a date for the Qatar World Cup. It was the news many in the sport had feared.
There will be not one solution which will be supported by all. But there is one solution which is coming out from this discussion, which is November-December 2022.
FIFA says the soaring summer temperatures here mean that for the sake of fans and players, football's showpiece event must be shifted from its traditional slot. But what will the fallout be from a winter tournament? European leagues will be thrown into chaos with a 7-week break at the height of the season. The World Cup itself will be shortened to minimise the impact, and clubs and broadcasters may seek compensation for the disruption.
On behalf of all the European leagues, and particularly the European clubs, who provide most of the players for this World Cup, the idea that we've turned up today, it's a pretty short meeting to be told it's going to happen in November, December, is very disappointing. I don't have an issue with the World Cup being here, but it should be played April, May, June, July, August, in the conditions that they said in their bid book they could provide.
Fellaini on the back post and flicked in by Matter. 7 years from now, FA Cup replays like this one may be scrapped as football makes room for Qatar 2022. But it may be a blessing in disguise for the England team and their manager.
If I was Roy Hodgson, I'd be thinking, brilliant, we've now got a chance of winning a major tournament, because for the first time ever, we have got the chance to go into a tournament actually with a fit, fresh team.
Qatar isn't known for its football, but for many here in Doha, like these fans at a local league match this week, today will feel like the build-up to the first World Cup in this region can finally begin.
It offers people the opportunity to get to know the true Middle East, and at the same time it offers the Middle East the opportunity to get to know the people on the outside, and that's where you bridge the gaps.
These are turbulent times for FIFA and this tiny Gulf state. The date of its World Cup is settled, but the rancour is set to continue for years.
Dan, we had Phil Neville saying that this could actually be a good thing, but then clearly there's some disappointment among the English, the British and European football leagues. So what kind of fight back can we expect from them?
Well, a considerable one, I think, Fiona. After all, let's not forget that in 2022, the World Cup final itself could take place just 2 days before Christmas, and that's why tonight the Premier League, the all-powerful top flight of English football, the biggest clubs in the land came out fighting, threatening what they called action potentially over this decision. They say it threatens the cherished and traditional English festive football programme. I think in breaking with decades worth of tradition here in Doha today, FIFA has really, I think, brought more and more pressure on itself. It's compounded the controversy that for years now has surrounded Qatar's hosting of the World Cup, thanks initially to allegations of corruption, and then of course also over the way it treats migrant workers. And now this, the divisions within the game seem wider than ever tonight, and I think it raises once again questions over FIFA's fitness to run the game.
Okay, Dan Rowan in Qatar, thank you.
Well, I'll be more questioning the Blatter World Cup anyway. I won't be watching it. It's obviously they took payment. They're supposed to be professionals. They should have known beforehand what problems they may encounter in Qatar World Cup.
Disaster from day one. I mean, we had incidents with people fainting. Did they have some roof collapsing with that? Something didn't go right. It collapsed or something.
Right. Well, they did originally want the World Cup to be played in the summer, but they're not even taking into fans' accounts. I mean, people who've got ill health, a little bit ill health, they could die. No, in sun if it's too hot.
Yeah.
Heat stroke. People could have heat stroke, dehydration.
Well,
especially if you're drinking, but if you're drinking dehydrated and not weather, don't mix.
From an England point of view, anyway, Dom, we've nothing to worry about. We won't be there long anyway. Our domestic season will be able to carry on because we won't be in it for much longer because we're notorious under failures, aren't we, World Cup?
Yeah, I mean, even if we go with a fully fit squad, I mean, that's still not good enough anyway. I mean, we've got a weak side. I mean, we've got a chance, even if it is good played in December.
We never know. Choose how many times we change it. It will never suit our needs. It'll never suit us anyway. Carrying on from that article anyway. Former Manchester United CEO David Gill said clubs will have big enough squads to cope with playing on Boxing Day 8 days after a possible World Cup final. There will have to be compromise on all fronts, so friendlies given up, there may be some FA Cup replays that go. League Cup semi-finals become one-legged. Everyone's going to have to do it. It's like any negotiation. If one person thinks they've won, hands down, then the other person's going to be upset. UEFA Executive Committee member Gill, who wants to replace Jim Boyce as Britain's FIFA Vice President, was asked if European clubs would boycott Qatar 2022. In a word, no, he replied. People threaten things and merely take them through. It is the preeminent competition. The World Cup, players want to play in it. Clubs want their players to play in it. The public wants it. Let's be serious. People might threaten it. People might threaten it. People might sort of say they're going to do it. Though, in my opinion, that will never happen. Europe's governing body, UEFA, said this week that it wanted the World Cup to start on the 26th of November and end on the 23rd of December. Possible 2022 timeline. Early November, Premier League pauses. 26th of November, World Cup starts. Early December, group stage finish after players return to clubs through December. But home after knockout stage exit. Sunday 18th of December, World Cup final. Monday 26th of December, Premier League returns on Boxing Day. On Tuesday, the task force meeting in Doha proposed holding the tournament in November and December due to the extreme heat in June and July when football showpiece event usually takes place. Summer temperatures in Qatar can exceed 40 degrees Celsius, while those in November and December drop to around 25 degrees Celsius. Football Association Chairman Greg Dyke said he would do all he could to protect the traditional Christmas period for club matches. That stance was echoed by Scudamore, who said we've got to make sure we keep the Christmas and New Year programme intact. And here's a view of average temperatures in Qatar, maximum temperature, as you can see from the scale there, yeah. Have a look at that, guys.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're a football fan in England, Christmas and football goes together, doesn't it? You usually have a match on Boxing Day, just day after Christmas Day, don't you?
Yeah, it's traditional, isn't it, for football fans?
If it's not going to be safe, it's a World Cup. I mean, it's not going to sound safe. I mean, do you really want a World Cup on Christmas or on Christmas?
Well, it's not going to be honest, these teams that it's going to affect is going to be the obviously the big name players who are playing for the bigger countries because they're better players, obviously, to play for the country. They don't get paid as much for playing for the country as they do playing for the club. Is that correct, Dom?
Well, no, they don't get paid for the country at all.
No, I'm sure they do get paid to a certain extent.
They might get a bonus if they win the World Cup. They might get a bonus, but they don't get paid. They don't get paid by the club.
Well, I thought they got paid some sort of severance kind of thing.
No, they get paid. No, because they're still getting paid by the club, even though they're on England duty. They're still getting paid. Like when they're at World Cup for a week, however, they're still getting paid by the club.
But if a player gets injured for the country, who's going to compensate for the club for that player being out injured?
You want to say that again? If a player gets injured, they get compensated on the clubs.
So they get who compensates that FA?
I think so, yeah. If they go through with it, I think if they say they want compensation, then they pay. It's happened before, hasn't it? I forgot which player it were, but a club went to claim compensation. Do you remember which player it were injured for England?
There's been one or two, to be honest, haven't there? I'm not too sure. Now, anyway, I'll carry on with the end of this article and see what you think. FIFA Vice President Jim Boyce has agreed that moving the World Cup to the winter was common sense and supported the view that the final would need to be earlier than 23rd of December. Former England defender Phil Neville believes that a winter World Cup will mean English players will be fresher than other World Cup tournaments. Neville, who won 59 caps, told BBC Sport, "We normally go into a World Cup at the end of a long hard 9-month season when our players are absolutely dead on their feet. For an England team, this might be the best thing that's ever happened." Yeah, that's it in a nutshell, pretty much, PJ, on that. Well,
thanks, Glenn. You just broke us a bit of first time ever sports news there, so...
Well, PJ, what happens when this international break comes in because of this World Cup? Is there going to be a backlog of fixtures for the League Cup, FA Cup, European Champions League, Europa League? When are all these fixtures? When's the season going to end? Is there going to be enough time to have a pre-season for the following season, so to speak?
It's only a game, Glenn.
Well, there's not going to be much Christmas TV on telly.
Yeah, but I mean, from a professional point of view, Paul, PJ, it's not very if football clubs have got a bigger squad, Dom, to
when's this? 2022? Yeah. Well,
yes.
They said 50% of UK population is not even, they'll be coming down with cancer soon, so you might not even be able to watch it. So I won't be putting any plans just yet, Glenn.
But I mean, it's
a good article. Good article. Yeah, thanks for that.
No, well, it's not going to affect the bigger clubs, Dom, is it?
No.
because they've got bigger squads to handle it with, these international players.
No,
So.
but that's the reason why I boycotted him. The reason I boycotted him is because Blatter they said payments millions to give it to Qatar, even though Qatar weren't a sensible place for him to host.
I think traditionally that World Cup's also always associated with June and July, Dom, isn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, I won't blabber on too much. Anyway, that's my.
I mean, I'm not saying Qatar should. I'm not saying Qatar should. That means Qatar should never host it. What they should do is, if they've got all that money, they could build stadiums and they can put some air conditioning in.
Come on, let's be realistic about it. The reason it's in Qatar is because
you're gonna need it.
It's financially beneficial for FIFA, isn't it, PJ?
Wow. Lee said the better from me. What about Blackhole? Let's see if he's got any comments.
I'm afraid I don't follow football whatsoever.
Neither do I. Neither do I, Blackhole. But
it's the gladiatorial ring of
all I know is they put a lot of people to work hard to build that. Yeah. And they took a long time doing it.
Good articles, though, Malcolm.
Yeah,
cheers, Paul. Cheers, Bart. Cheers, PJ. Cheers, Dom.
Good stuff. Right, I'll.
Thanks, Dom. Yeah, cheers.
I'll try and bring mine if it's going to be. Allowing me tonight. Okay. I think we've got a starting point here. Hopefully, you should see my articles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay. Okay, this is the US shooting spree leaves 8 dead. I've left it on my tab. 3 hours have gone by. So this is quite breaking news. I haven't had a chance to check, see if any other the mainstream. This is from Australia. Well, it's not an American article, but the source is news.com.au, Australia. So a gunman killed 7 people and wounded an 8th in an overnight house-to-house rampage in a small Missouri town before apparently committing suicide, authorities said on Friday. The victims were found in 4 homes in Tyrone, about 65 kilometers north of the Arkansas line. The 36-year-old gunman was discovered in a neighboring county, dead of what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Missouri Highway Patrol Sergeant Jeff Kinder said. Sergeant Kinder gave no information on a motive for the shootings, or whether the gunman and the victims were connected. The names of the dead were being withheld until their relatives could be notified. There's a picture of the sergeant there. This is a horrific tragedy, and our hearts go out to the victims of these senseless acts and their families. Governor Jay Nixon said crisis counselling will be made available to students and others. All the victims were adults, Texas County Coroner Tom Whitaker told the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Whitaker told the newspaper that before the gunman was discovered dead, authorities found his mother dead of apparent natural causes on a couch at her home. She had been under a doctor's care and appeared to have been dead at least 24 hours, the coroner said. Mr. Whitaker said investigators were still gathering evidence, but he speculated that the son came home and found her deceased and then went, for whatever reason, went on the rampage and started killing people. The sheriff's office received a call about 10:15 p.m. Thursday from a young woman who said she had fled to a neighbour's home after hearing gunshots in her house. Sergeant Kinder said when officers arrived, they found 2 people dead. They found 5 more people dead and 1 wounded in 3 other homes. The wounded person was taken to a hospital. The victim's condition was not disclosed. Tyrone is a largely rural Texas county where the scenic rivers and woods draw canoeists, trout fishermen and deer hunters. The area has seen an exodus of shoe and garment factories over the decades, along with a drop in dairy and poultry farms, County Clerk Don Troutman said. Mr. Troutman described Tyrone as little more than a pocket of houses. A couple of general stores are long gone. and the one-room schoolhouse has been converted to a community building, he said. It looks sounds pretty small then. There's not even a stop sign there, said Mr. Troutman, a lifelong Texas County resident who has been clerk for 36 years. He said of the bloodshed, "We've never had anything of this magnitude before. It's a shock." Stockdale superintendent of the school district that serves Tyrone called the area bucolic, or bucolic, whatever it is. I never really heard of that word, to be honest. And beautiful, and added, "We are holding our breath as a community to find our specifics. We want to help people make sense of this tragedy." He said, and Mr. Whitaker told the Post-Dispatch that the discovery of the bodies over a several-hour span was numbing, considering that the county averages perhaps one homicide a year. "At first I thought I had 3 victims, and we keep finding more victims," he said. "It's kind of like, oh gosh, what have we got here? It's spread over miles." So that just ends that one. Not much information on the shooter, apart from a 36-year-old.
Well, he were obviously a mummy's boy, he thought. When his mum died, he probably thought that he's going to obviously come carry out, he's going to kill himself, and he's going to take a few out before he does it.
Many cases like the old Derek Bird and others.
Do you think he's just picked his victims at random, or do you think it might be old scores before he decided to take himself out?
I'm not sure.
I think it's random because he's gone to a secluded area, so where he's more likely to get away with where less people are going to cause alarm. He can't really get away with that in a city. He'd kill probably 1 or 2, and then he'd get gunned down. But
well, that's a big loss to a small little area community there.
He obviously doesn't live in that town as Tyrone, so he's travelled there with that intent to kill. But random.
I'll move on. Homelessness rises 55% under disgraceful Tory government, charity said. Devastating figures released by the Department of Communities and Local Government reveal a significant 55% rise in homelessness since David Cameron became Prime Minister in 2010. The official figures released Thursday say that 2,774 people slept rough in England in 2014. It's just in 1 year in one part of the UK, up from 2,414 in 2013, the year before, and 1,768 in 2010. The year the coalition government was formed. Homelessness charities are urgently calling on party leaders to review the situation. London now has 742 people sleeping rough every night, an increase on 2013 figures of 37%, compared with a rise of 7% nationwide. The charity Centrepoint confirms the number of rough sleepers in London has increased by nearly 40% in the last year. London Mayor Boris Johnson, who 6 years ago pledged to end rough sleeping in the capital by 2012, has also been asked to account for the figures. This is a video here called Kevin's Story. So if you just want to mute your mic so I'll get no feedback, I'll try and play
Well,
it.
apparently, on average, there's 100 evictions a day.
100 evictions a day?
Yeah.
In what area? In London?
UK.
UK? Ah.
It's mainly due to the bedroom tax.
Yeah, not surprising.
And that's not to say that that's pretty low, because a lot of people have committed suicide, so they've not even got to that stage. That's why you've not heard of them as evictions. You've probably heard of them as, suicide people, or other people just going mentally ill and end up getting sectioned and that. Other stories, it's not just the case of being evicted due to non-payment of bedroom tax. Statistics for everything are all muddled up, really. I don't think they can ever be accurate.
Well, in 2013, 37,792 people were evicted.
Yeah. I was bringing to light other cases, like cases of Stephanie Bottrell. That were all. But I'll play this video anyway.
If I've got one bit of advice to give to anyone now, it would be, even when you think you're at your lowest ebb, there's always a way up. I contracted cancer. I had a major operation for cancer, and that was quite life-changing. And I've never really worked properly since. Unfortunately, I was made redundant, got into debt. I just had things get on top of me. Unfortunately, I lost the property. I stayed with a friend for a couple of weeks, but obviously that only could be for the short term. And as I say, I ended up in this hospital in Blatter, and it was an absolute nightmare, but I suppose better than being on the streets. You feel as if you're the only person on the planet. You feel so alone. I was taken to court for a non-payment of a council tax bill, and unfortunately got sent down for 28 days. Well, being in prison was probably the lowest I could have ever felt. In fact, on the verge of suicide. I don't think it could get any lower. Well, I came into contact with Crisis just after the turn of the year, and from there, managed to get a placement down at Crisis Skylights in the cafe. Sort of stuff we do, well, preparation of all the meals, fresh every day. We do quite a bit of outside catering, buffets and such like. Well, I saw an advertisement in one of the local newspapers for a position as a part-time chef. To be offered the job, it was like winning the lottery. In fact, I was so elated. The first thing I did was pick up my phone and phoned Richard from Crisis and told me good news. He was over the moon. If it hadn't been for Richard Oswald helping me with the online application, which I'm not very good with computers. Everything was written by hand in my day. It's an enormous lift. I can see light at the end of the tunnel now, where a few months back there was nothing but darkness, which I've got a lot to be thankful for Crisis for helping me in this. It's given me a great deal of self-confidence and pride. I feel now as if I can walk the streets and feel proud that I'm doing a worthwhile job. I feel part of the human race again.
There you go. It's Kevin's story. Good luck to you, Kevin. Seems to be doing well now. The next one is...
best, mate.
Yeah. The next one is Shameless. Labour attacked for feeble 6k tuition fees pledge. Being dubbed a token gesture. Students have attacked Labour Party leader Ed Miliband's pledge to reduce university tuition fees from £9,000 to £6,000, accusing him of offering a token gesture. Miliband said if Labour wins the general election in May, the party will lower tax breaks for pensioners earning over £150,000 to fund cuts to tuition fees. While some welcomed the move, others derided the pre-election promise for not addressing the wider issue of why the UK has tuition fees at all. The National Campaign Against Fees and Cuts said Labour had not gone far enough. In a statement, Beth Redmond of NCAFC said Labour's announcement is feeble and misses the point of everything that we and the other student campaigners have said for the past 2 years. Dropping fees by £3,000 is a token gesture, she said. Redmond, as a student at City and Islington College, said Labour's proposed reduction would provide little benefit to those studying. Speaking to RT, she said a 3k reduction in fees actually means very little to students. Sure, we will have slightly less debt in the long run, but that debt will still be crippling, and the large majority of us will still be living in poverty while we study. That's before we even touch on those who still won't be able to even go to university because it's still too expensive, she said. Redmond said as long as university education comes with a price tag, it will always end up excluding somebody. We should, got a little scroller up here. I've lost my place now. We should be challenging the mentality that students are customers and universities are businesses and value education for the sake of education.
Well, can you take... Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go on.
Yeah, can you take don't you get a loan to pay for your tuition fees if you can't afford it, and you only start paying it back after you've started earning £30,000 a year?
Yeah, that's right, but is that still going to help you? Don't you need the money to start, you know, when you want to get your house and you want to live?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if they pay your tuition fees and you don't need to pay it back until you're earning £30,000 a year, you should be able to pay it back.
Yeah, but you see what they're doing now is they're selling it off. The student debt, they've sold it off, or they're in the process of doing it. And many people can't keep up with repayments, so finding knocks on the doors.
Once that debt becomes in private hands, they can add whatever interest rates they like on to compound the interest on the debt.
Yeah.
Well, most didn't pay the loans back, and the government, I think it was Labour who were in charge, who were in government at the time. They wrote a lot of debt off, a lot of tuition fee debts off. It ran into billions, I think.
Not too sure about that. Labour are scared of the students' vote going to the Greens, but are too shameless to even offer us something worth voting for, she said. Reflecting on the unexpected policy announcement, the NCAFC said it was a result of years of student protest. Demonstrations against tuition fee hikes and cuts to higher education funding attracted tens of thousands of people in 2010. On November the 10th of that year, between 30 and 50,000 protesters marched through central London as part of a mass national walkout. Don't go on the BBC for them archives, wherever you do. Aggressive police tactics resulted in violent confrontations with hundreds of students kettled in Trafalgar Square. Social media users echoed the NCAFC's response to Labour tuition fees pledge. Just the tweets. Tuition fee, still loads of money. Seriously, Ed, if you can't fix it, don't bother just tinkering. Focus on what you can fix.
That was a good tweet where you just missed go up a little bit. Back up to thingy, straight up, it's on about Labour bringing it in. UK Labour, a big lie before Labour tuition fees were zero. You bought in the 3,000 charge, the fees were your idea.
And then we had the case of Nick Clegg lying, coming out with that apology, saying he was sorry.
That pledge.
That was Nick Clegg, yeah.
Yeah, with the pledge, the so-called pledge. Well, if they make pledges and they break them like that, it just shows you what are they going to keep.
I pledge to pay you. And they never do.
Promissory note. That's what you need to pay them for those students that are finding themselves in a difficult situation. Moving on. And can I just say that? Not only that, but what they did get is many non-EU citizens over here, right, promised them jobs in NHS and this and that, and they all ended up working in private nursing care homes and other places like that for private companies, do you know what I mean? So it was just a big lie years ago. So I just thought I'd add that. Anyway. Unusual, Super Comet heading towards Earth, leaving scientists baffled. An unusual comet that some call a super comet, due to its passing by the Sun unscathed, is heading towards the Earth, and it will be unlike any comet we've ever seen before, according to scientists. Report from the Daily Mail now. NASA and the European Space Agency's Solar and Heliospheric Observatory also called SOHO, spotted the comet as it skimmed past the Sun. This is not thought to be belonging to any known family of comets, and scientists have been left baffled as to how it survived its close encounter with the Sun. The comet raced past the star at the centre of our solar system at a distance of just 2.2 million miles from the Sun's surface. Most comets that come from that close do not survive the trip, according to the solar scientists who study images beamed back from SOHO. Yet this comet managed to survive, said Dr. Carl Bertans, a solar scientist at the Naval Research Laboratory in Washington, D.C. However, he warned the close encounter with the Sun may have taken its toll. He said there's a half-decent chance that ground observers might be able to detect it in the coming week. But it's also possible that events during its trip around the Sun will cause it to die fairly fast. Scientists are now attempting to calculate the path of the new comet. Well, trying to calculate the path of the new comet, yeah. SOHO was initially designed to study the internal structure of the Sun and the huge explosions that send the solar wind racing across the solar system. However, it has also become a major source of comet discoveries, and these giant balls of ice and rock light up as they encounter the intense streams of ionized gas that is thrown out by the Sun. Now, SOHO has discovered 2,875 comets. Most belong to the Crux family, which all broke off from a single giant comet many centuries ago. This latest comet, however, does not bear any resemblance to these other comets nor any other family known. Such non-group comets only occur a few times a year. In a video released by NASA, the comet can be seen appearing on February 19 and taking a huge curving path away from the Sun. Towards the end of the video, as the comet begins to develop a tail, a coronal mass ejection from the Sun throws huge amounts of solar material into space. There you go, a bit exaggerated.
It was like 4 times closer to the Sun than us, then, basically, weren't it? We're 9 million miles away from the Sun.
2.2 million miles from the Sun's surface, so it's what, 91 away from us?
Yeah, we're 9 million miles away.
There's no date of its closest approach to the Earth, then?
Not that I know of. They're trying to calculate it now, so I guess we'll have to wait for that one. I'll keep my eye out. Alright, my final one for today, and to wrap us all up with, is the nothing creepy about Travolta, says Johansson. Scarlett Johansson is defending John Travolta and calls the image of him kissing her on the Academy Awards red carpet an unfortunate still frame from a live-action encounter that was totally sweet and totally welcome. Scarlett Johansson told Associated Press on Thursday there is nothing at all strange, creepy, or inappropriate about John Travolta. She called her former co-star of the film a love song for Bobby Long, a classic act, or class act. Travolta agreed to Johansson at Sunday's Oscars with a kiss and his arm around her waist. The photo has since been turned into an internet meme. But Johansson said the image doesn't reflect the moment, calling it yet another way we are misguided. Listen, misguided, misinformed, and sensationalised by the 24-hour news cycle. That's a good one, and that's what I'm going to leave it on. Any comments?
Well, I think that was just a setup between both of them to create a bit of publicity.
People will start talking when they see something like that to an unlikely couple, won't they, PJ?
What, like me? But I just.
Have they got any new films out at the minute? What's John Travolta doing next? Has he got all coming out? Or?
I've no idea, Dan.
No idea.
Have they got a Grease reunion coming up? Is she going to be the next Sandy?
We're not in Hairspray.
Yeah.
She don't look very dissimilar to Olivia Newton-John, though, does she?
Except she's a bit younger now, Paul, isn't she?
Oh, yeah.
Olivia Newton-John's a bit of an experienced, more mature woman now, Paul, isn't she?
Yeah, and John Travolta's not that young either now.
Yeah, that's why it seems a little bit.
Guys, that's great stuff from Polaris. We got there in the end. It's been a long one, but it's been worth it.
Well, this is big deal, Paul.
Yeah, any final thoughts?
Yeah, take care of yourself and each other.
Okay, join us tomorrow for some more Flux news. Till then, take care, look after yourselves.
Bye.